if I may. Shall we jump into the idiocy that we're going to cover today? Because I would like to remind everyone that this is supposedly what people down there in Pickens, South Carolina, what they think passes for patriotism. She's gonna tell us about how much better she is at being American than you and I are. Okay, get it right, figure it out. Come on, straighten it out. Know what's what and what's up and what's not and what's done. You know what I'm saying? Think about it and then stop thinking and then start again. Where did this guy go? Wait, open up, you silly thing. Oh, there we go. And then, 1 second, where would that be? This would be over here. Whoops, everything falls apart. I just want to tell you that I think she's so pretty. She's a pretty fine woman. And that's largely because I'm often turned on by women that can bench press the back end of an F-150 while not breaking gas, which I suppose is, well, it's a debate. I've always wondered, is that smell coming from her all the time or just when she swears? We'll figure it. All right, so let's give it a shot. Hey, by the way, happy 4th of July, y'all. Hey, man, happy Independence Day, man, when we separated ourselves from the monarchy and we ain't got no kings among us. Everybody's on the level, everybody's the same, everybody's equal, and hopefully we're getting more and more equal all the time, okay? I'm trying to get taller right now. It ain't working, but I do think I pooed a little. Every time I try it hurts a little, and yet I like it. All right, so let's hear the speech from Marjorie Taylor Greene, Queen of the Freedom Caucus, Minister of the Freedom Caucasians in Pickens, South Carolina. Here we go. Come on now.
Stage U.S. Representative from Georgia's District 14, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
All the music playing, all the birds by the duty, a swell ball friend and a NASCAR booty. A rock down the rocket and a doobity doo. I wear a short skirt and what do you do? I'm on hey dog, dog, dog. Woof a doofy way dog, a dog, dog. Woof a doofy way dog, a dog, dog. Yeah, I'm American cooter, booter, dooter, booter. Hey, yeah, hi y'all. Just fucking the music they play on this, like they're all fucking baseball players in minor league teams in the South all the time. Okay, sorry, here we go.
I am absolutely tickled to be with so many patriots celebrating.
Tickled. She's tickled, guys. She's on the verge of giggly.
Celebrating our American independence. But I have something
from
very serious to talk with you all about today.
All right, hold on. Let me. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. You can't hear serious stuff when you fly down. It's wrong.
America is in a crisis.
Oh, no. I knew it. Happy 4th. America sucks. We're in a crisis. Unemployment is the lowest it's been in 60 years. Oil is below $70, and it seems to be headed south in a very bad way. The biggest growing industries have to do with technology that require a college diploma. And yet people are working more than they ever had. And women are voting at a higher number than they have been in the last decade because the Dobbs overturning thing kicked them into high gear. It's a crisis.
The ruling political class of power.
The ruling political class. Yes, on 4th of July, we celebrate that we are being controlled by those that were voted in by other people. You wouldn't happen to be talking about the states that have 2 senators that have fewer people than some of the suburbs around me, would you?
Powerful elites in Washington, D.C. are targeting their political opposition while protecting their own from very serious crimes.
Protecting them from very serious crimes. Don't you mean protecting them from getting busted for committing very serious crimes? Or, oh, you just mean Trump and his idiots are trying to cover his crimes, they're committing a crime like fraud and false witness on the Bidens. Is that what you mean?
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Okay.
On his first full day in office, I introduced articles of impeachment on Joe Biden.
Is on his first full day. Because why wait for actual reasons, y'all? I just want to overturn the voters' decision because that's America. One woman standing against the population of a country. On his first day born, I indicted a child on things that crimes he might commit. We'll just keep a running tally just in case.
We knew, you knew, America. We knew then what Joe Biden and his corrupt family were up to.
Oh yes, what were they up to? They were up to selling us out to China. Were they giving up all by the Quad and the AUKUS agreement and the CHIPS Act and bringing the supply chains back home and keeping the Trump tariffs and in some cases doubling down on them, and he was always China.
Now I serve on the Oversight Committee and under
Which is in and of itself a hilarity.
the Republican-led House, we have been able to uncover in just 6 months unbelievable amounts of crime.
Yes, quite unbelievable, actually. So much so that a lot of us, when we see that, let's see, wait, I've got a button in here somewhere. I think I put it right. Where did I? So should we go back over here? Perhaps something in here like, did this actually work? Nope. Hold on. Where did it go? That's so annoying. I built this thing and now it's acting all funny. 1 second. This guy. Hello, bullshit. How are you?
And corruption perpetuated by Joe Biden, his disgusting son, Hunter.
Oh, disgusting. He's disgusting and disgusting. That tape they have him with him on when he was on Access Hollywood talking about grabbing women by the pussy, and that thing where he went on the news and started saying she's not even attractive enough for me to sexually assault, and the whole thing about him hiding classified documents in the shitter, and then wait. Fuck, I keep getting this guy mixed up with... Who are you talking about again?
And his entire criminal family.
Right, totally. Yeah. Remember when Joe Biden got all those PPP loans that he didn't actually need and he didn't pay back? Because... Oh, fuck.
Thanks to a brave whistleblower coming...
Brave whistleblower at the IRS. Who saw things on the internet and wanted them brought into the case in a way that would have destroyed whatever case they did have. Thank God he came forward.
Forward to Senator Chuck Grassley.
I like to blow any whistle that comes my way. Let me tell you that. Joe Biden's too old to be president, and he's 6 years younger than me.
And Chairman James Comer. We subpoenaed a very specific form.
Subpoenaed a very specific form. God damn, this is exciting. It's like the end of a Columbo episode meets Criminal Minds, meets the Dahmer series, meets a copy repairman telling us about their weekend.
Form FD 1023.
Oh, sorry, starting to chub. Not FD 1023. You mean the one filed by Rudy Giuliani?
Which was generated by, in the FBI's own words, their best and most credible informant.
Oh my God. During the Trump administration, who turned out to be the president's lawyer. By the way, no, in their own, they didn't say... They did not say this person is their best and most credible informant. What the fuck does that mean? That's not even a knowable statement. Certainly not one that anybody would actually write down. The fuck? In their own words, is the Godhead, the smartest person with the biggest crank in the Western Hemisphere, bar none, we've measured. What are you talking about?
The form directly implicates Joe Biden in a foreign bribery.
Well, it technically indirectly implicates him, but by a factor of 2. But please continue.
Pay-to-play scheme where he and Hunter both accepted $5 million. $5 million.
Did she say paid $5 million? Like she accidentally, or would she say 5 million pesos? Was she just, in her head, she's already talking about the open border?
In bribes and payments in exchange for foreign policy decisions as Vice President of the United States.
Oh my God. In exchange for doing stuff. I mean, this happened in 2017, but anyways, after he was no longer vice president, but sure.
That's right.
That's right. Boo. Yeah, boo. It's terrible. I agree. Terrible, terrible. Tell him, wait till she tells you what he did in exchange for the money. Yeah, don't hold your breath. Okay. Huh? I made a face. Just waiting for the lock him up. Since that phrase has a tendency to blow back in your face, considering nothing ever happened to Hillary and Trump put that lock her up thing out in the water, and what's happening to him, do you really want to float that right now, Marge? I just feel like in about 5 years we're going to be looking at your indictment if this pattern continues.
By the way, this 1023 form totally vindicates President Trump's call with the president of Ukraine when he asked about Biden's crooked deal to get Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin fired.
Wait, what?
With the president of Ukraine when he asked about Biden's crooked deal to get Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin fired.
Okay, I see.
They should have never impeached President.
They should have never impeached him because just for asking that question. Of course, he threatened to withhold funds and weaponry that the Congress had already allocated and that he had already signed into law earlier that year and was approaching the deadline for where they would actually have to have a secondary vote on it. And he was in that when it's one of the reasons why the plan didn't work is because he literally waited too long to implement it because he's a fucking moron. But also, no, it doesn't vindicate him at all. It just means he was trying to use the idiotic storyline that these dickheads have been badmintoning around the internet for a few years.
Trump. But this wasn't all the form said.
No, obviously there's more. 17 recordings that the guy has in case he needs them. Now, he's been on the run for 3 years and nobody's seen him. And I suppose in the last couple of years, he could have used it to get back in his own country and get his billions back. But that didn't work out. I don't know why. I guess he was waiting for, in case he needed him, in case he was in a tight spot.
Keep in mind, this is an unclassified form. All of you should be able to read what it says. But the FBI director, Christopher...
Well, no, it doesn't have to be classified to be part of an ongoing investigation. That's not how you keep material around an investigation, only in the circle of the people who are either defending themselves or the prosecutor's office that is bringing it. That it is, and by the way, one of the reasons why you do that in a trial is, and they've been bitching about the leaks that have been coming out about Trump, which, by the way, are all coming from his own lawyers, just because Trump thinks it proves his innocence. So he's like, let that out. Listen to what I said. I don't think I said anything wrong. That's because you're an idiot, not because it's true. And so his own lawyers are sending this stuff out. But let's just get, they're constantly talking about how Jack Smith and the prosecutors are leaking things to hurt Trump or whatever. Okay. No. They keep that secret so that they don't muddy the jury pool or make people try to position themselves to be in the jury, or to get or to make it so that the defendant can argue they couldn't get a fair trial, which is exactly what Trump's team wants. Trump's team leaks all this shit out so they can go, this stuff came out and you leaked it, and if you don't find out who leaked it in your office, we want a new trial because we didn't get a fair trial. That's what they're going to use, and he's been doing this shit forever. But ultimately, well, hold on, let's back up.
Victor Shokin fired.
Yeah, so again, Biden was working on behalf of the U.S. government to get Shokin fired, and on behalf of the and the IMF wanted him fired. Like, it's just silly. Like, we're so fucking past this.
They should have never impeached President Trump. But this wasn't all.
Oh yeah, but they didn't impeach him for asking about Shokin. They impeached him for withholding. Threatening a world leader with withholding these arms that he had already signed into law that would go to.
The form said, keep in mind, this is an unclassified form. All of you should be able to read what it says.
No, you shouldn't. You don't have to classify evidence, is the point I was making.
But the FBI director, Christopher Wray, who is the head of Joe Biden and Merrick Garland's personal police force, required members.
Yes, the FBI is the personal police force of the president and Merrick Garland. So what were they under Trump? Did he have this power and he just didn't know how to use it? Is this a sign of weakness on Trump's part? I wonder if Trump had any thoughts like, wow, as president, I can control this and no one can do anything about it.
Of Congress to review this unclassified document in a skiff in the Capitol. Then he...
Right, because of the actual informant and the path that they got that information is classified. Not the contents of the allegation or whatever.
Deceptively redacted it
So stupid.
to conceal the fact that the Ukrainian oligarch who paid off Joe Biden has 17 recorded phone calls, 15 with Hunter and 2 with the big guy himself, Joe Biden.
And none of them in all the, like, Hunter Biden smoking in the bathtub stuff or weighing crack with a hooker in a hotel room, and none of the 10% for the big guy shit that's been going on for the last year. It never thought this guy has got the only copies of these things, and he's just waiting for the day to use them. Probably in this, he's looking at Joe Biden at 80 years old and going, I'll wait till his second term.
But this isn't everything, folks.
No, it couldn't possibly. You wish.
It's just a fraction of it.
Yeah, this is just I know what you're thinking. This is hair-thin bullshit. It's just the wispy. It's just a wisp of bullshit. Yeah, I know, but it's only a part of a giant, bigger pile of bullshit.
A few weeks ago, I went to the Treasury Department to review thousands of pages of suspicious activity reports on the Biden family.
Did you see any of the ones on the Trump family while you were there? Because there's lots of those. I'm guessing probably somewhere in the order of 20 to 1.
Not just Hunter, the
of course not.
Biden family.
Yes, the family. Anybody who makes over $10,000 after 9/11.
A suspicious activity report is something banks are legally required to send to the Treasury when a bank account is being used for potentially illegal activity.
And the standard for that after 9/11 was anything over $10,000.
I'd be willing to bet that none of you here have ever had one SARS report.
Okay, she personally has at least a dozen. She took some of that PPP money and she loaned it to her campaign. Yeah. And she's not independently wealthy, so there was magically a couple $100,000 just jumping from one account to another. That's how you get a SAR. And there are multiple ones past a certain point. So fuck off this nonsense.
But what I read was shocking.
I bet. You were shocked that people could make that much on, selling an actual book.
The Biden family set up dozens of shell fake LLCs to...
Well, the shell fake LLC part is, I mean, it is Delaware after all. And secondarily, define shell and fake because Trump has 500 of them personally. Not the family, not the Trump family. Trump is signatory on like 1,500, but he himself has 500 LLCs, some of them just around singular bank accounts.
Under money. When most people create LLCs, it's a business.
Really? Really? Because how many of the 500 LLCs Trump has are actual businesses? Because I'm going to go with like maybe 80 of them. If you count Trump steaks and shit like that as an actual business.
I was a private business people.
They typically provide a product or a service. That's what most people do in America. But
yes, most of us provide a service. Don't forget to subscribe.
not the Bidens.
No, the Bidens, they write books, and books have never been a service to anyone except the Bible, which you should avoid reading the second half of it.
And I don't count Hunter's paintings as any type of product, do you?
Well, it doesn't matter. It's an actual product. I mean, it doesn't surprise me you don't think art is a product. Thanks for thinking it's priceless. Mm-hmm.
The SARS reports even listed payments to Russian and Ukrainian prostitutes. The only thing the Biden family
Well, those are definitely Hunters. Yeah.
ever sold is Joe Biden's political influence, and selling out the American people has made them rich beyond their wildest dreams.
Well, okay, first of all, I don't think so. I think that if you look at Hunter, especially at the height of his crack use, I'm guessing his dreams were way higher than living in his dad's lake house and having to repair the shutters. I'm just going to go out on a limb. Secondly, Trump, so what?
We must impeach Joe Biden.
Because his son used crack and got hookers when he was working in Eastern Europe, just like Rudy Giuliani did 2 years ago. I don't know if he used crack while he was over there, but, you know, according to Lev Parnas, they visited some people.
Joe isn't the only person.
Isn't it funny that this whole speech sounds like something she's yelling through your front car windshield in a parking lot outside of a Target? Everything she says just feels like she's leaning over your car, just yelling it into your window? That's just the vibe I'm getting.
We must impeach for being corrupt. You see, you fire people in the real world when they do a bad job.
Uh-huh. And tell us about the bills you've passed, the ones that you've actually gotten. I mean, I know you introduced the impeachment thing, so let's say it's been 2 years. How much failure are we supposed to put up with, Marge?
When they're criminals. That's why I've also introduced articles of impeachment against Attorney General Merrick Garland.
That aren't going anywhere. Honestly, if this was a dude, it would be, this is the equivalent of him going, I'm going to fuck every woman here without ever even getting or sustaining an erection. It will look like a grown man trying to unclog a sink with a Vienna sausage. Trust me, it will be a sight. Honest to God, what are you doing? Listing your failures?
FBI Director Christopher Wray.
The Trump appointee.
And Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
Who's got a very suspicious foreign-sounding name. Not since Barack Hussein Obama. And Mayorkas just sounds like he's half man, half Free Willy. I don't know.
And U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves for abuse of power and weaponizing our federal government. We're a nation.
That's our job.
Without a border. A nation.
Wait a minute. Are you castigating our border control agents and our port workers and our inspectors? You saying those people just stopped doing their job? How How dare you?
Without fair and equal justice, and a nation that refuses to enforce our laws.
Yes, we have refused to enforce our laws.
Without a border, a nation without fair and equal justice, and a nation that refuses to enforce our laws.
Yes, we refuses to enforce our laws. I agree. Because that would require a time machine. To refuse to enforce something that happened before when you didn't do it when you could would, sorry, I started smelling toast.
Our so-called leaders must be held accountable.
You mean you? Because, I mean, I would consider Joe Biden an actual leader, but I would consider you a so-called leader. If only because, I don't even know if he actually calls you that, but I do think the idea that you're leading in the impeachment push, for example, and it's going nowhere, that would define so-called.
Now, you may have heard in the news that a corrupt federal prosecutor wants to serve President Trump a 100-year death sentence for...
Wait a minute. Okay, first of all, the 100-year sentence or whatever isn't a death sentence. Don't you believe Ronnie Jackson? If they get him the right food, he'll live to be 200.
Moving some boxes he was legally allowed to have under the...
Yeah, the boxes aren't the question. It was what's in them, dipshit. What's the big deal with boxes, okay? What, are you going to arrest every manager of every U-Haul store in the fucking country? Oh my God, what are you going to outlaw? That's the war on Christmas. They just going after the packaging. That's what they want.
Presidential Records Act.
Yeah, no, that's it. The Records Act part is what made them realize that a bunch of shit was missing that he wasn't supposed to have. That's not what they're charging him with, stupid.
Can you believe this?
Yes, I can. I can believe that Trump is such a moron and such a failure and such an absolutely self-involved dickhead that he would pitch a fit about giving some boxes back because he thought one of his ways of getting out of his financial troubles, which are looming over every horizon he tends to look at, his one way out might be able to sell this shit, and he thought he could get away with it. Boo, give this, free his boxes, free his boxes.
Shameful.
It is shameful. So much shame. It's shame. Shame. You sit in the box and you feel shame.
President Trump, under the
former President Trump, just for the record, I'm just former and never future President Trump. I'll just throw that out there.
Law is allowed to have the documents, yet
no, he isn't.
Somehow Joe Biden hasn't been charged for having stacks and stacks of classified documents.
Mad stacks. He's got mad stacks, by the way.
In his garage, next to his Corvette, with a door that opens and closes.
Yeah, but for the record, he doesn't rent his house out to wedding parties. I'm just gonna, it's a little slight difference in, I mean, I understand he's also got Secret Service protection. He's had it since he was vice president when all this shit would have gone down. Like, they literally look over the entire property. And so no matter what, as a matter of fact, there's probably a satellite pointed at that garage door when it opens and closes all the fucking time, especially now. But Trump doesn't even know, I would argue, 93% of the people that set foot in there, and maybe the other 5% of the 7 or so that he does, maybe he knows them by a nickname or calls them by their company name, like Tim Appley kind of bullshit. And then a couple of them are celebrities, and then there's Kid Rock and Nick Fuentes and Kanye West, and that's it.
And you have to ask yourself,
how could Georgia get any dumber? Well, just you wait.
How was Joe Biden even able to get these documents from the time he was in the Senate? He
wasn't. Those documents, you're talking, the ones that are allegedly from his time in the Senate that are at the University of Delaware are from his time in the Senate and are completely free of his to give. Every senator can give their papers. They often do it to a school that, you know, especially if they're a long-serving senator, they'll give them to a school and they'll be part of the legal and governmental studies programs there, and, you know, and part of their archives to go into, and people can look at historical moments that senators on big committees and that kind of stuff had. So, don't worry, you'll never have to worry about this. They're when they build the Marjorie Taylor Greene school board president, you know, memorial outhouse, we'll all drop by to take a shit. But since Biden was in the Senate for so long, his senatorial papers went there. What you're thinking of is the papers that supposedly were from his time as vice president that were there in the closet there that was locked, that his attorneys found and went, oops, these shouldn't be here. And they took those boxes, returned them immediately without any questions asked. As a matter of fact, they ceased looking through them and just handed them all over, which is very distinctly different from, let's just say, Biden and, I don't know, who's the equivalent of Walt Nada? Anthony Weiner. Biden called Anthony Weiner and said, my lawyer's going to come back. Not a joke. He's going to come back and pick up all these boxes in a week and a half. Bring them in here so I can sift through them, and we'll sneak them back in and tell them they were there the whole time.
Would have had to have stolen them from directly inside of a skiff. You see.
Well, no, because he was vice president for 8 years, and he could have gone back and did, quite frankly, go back and look at some of the paperwork from his time in the Senate and refer to his notes that he had taken that might have been in the skiff, or stuff that was during his time that mattered to when they were doing negotiations that had to do with when he'd met with delegations before. They would review things when they met world leaders, whether they were a new one or somebody like Putin who'd been there for the entire stretch, because Putin has been there since Biden was in the Congress, and then was in the Senate, and then became vice president. So reviewing those documents during those, he can go back and fuck off.
Senators can't take classified documents home with them.
No, he was vice president for 8 years. Ta-da!
And then we have Hillary Clinton, who was storing classified information.
I guess you can save yourself, if they give you 12 minutes to do a speech at one of these things, you know you've always got some coasting room just by name dropping some folks. If you needed some filler. Yeah, that worked. Yeah, you had 4 fucking years. You literally had the presidency. You literally got the... All right, we got about another minute of her, and then I'm done.
It never gets old. Never.
Yeah, it actually does. Well, I guess it's got a renewed kind of interest since you fucked up so badly and it never actually happened. I think it never gets old. Oh God.
Never gets old.
It just never gets old. You know what? Yeah, it does. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. We don't have to put up with this shit. We're young people. We've got prospects.